So our next speaker and final speaker in this session is Dr. Stephen Flood. Stephen is an environmental social scientist with Landcare Research, and he has over 10 years expertise in climate change, environmental policy and social science research, which covers both qualitative and quantitative research methods. And there's a whole lot more in his bio which you can see on the app. So I've kind of shortened it.
Thanks, Connie. Thank you.
Cool, thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks to Joe and Ruth and Alison. And I know that my talk links through with the earlier papers today, and also yesterday the kind of theme around, which I saw front and center over the last few days, of the growing importance of environmental social science, and how now it seems to be front and center in the conversation. I think that's quite exciting. This project is, I got involved in this, just going to get my timer so I can be honest. I got involved in this last year. And it was very, very exciting working with Melissa and Robin and Megan and Wendy, and to see their passion around this topic and to see how interested they are in this area. And I really felt a strong obligation to try and capture that interest and to try and do justice to the work. So it's been a really interesting journey, and I'm really enjoying it. And it's quite a challenge as well. So what I'm looking at is, the purpose of this review is to assess attitudes and behaviour change in school children and teachers as a result of we focus on the Cape to City programme, and to consider these changes in the context of the school curriculum at large. And that was something that I didn't think of straight away, but the team, the guys said it has to work through with the school curriculum, and that's really important. So I worked that through, and to try and link in with the key competencies. So these 5 key competencies, which are really, really, really important, around thinking, relating to others, using language, managing the self, participation and contribution. And these are the competencies that you'd hope to impart on your students throughout their school career, and I guess their university career and their life and everything else. Moving quickly over, looking at methods, the way it's a lot of work has been done. And my job, as I saw, was to try and document what's been done, pull it together and create a nice narrative to show the impact of these environmental education programs in these schools. So the way I'm doing that, and this is ongoing work until June of next year, is through a survey instrument, through a literature review, framing what exactly we're looking at, how environmental education fits in terms of curriculum, how it can be cross-curricular rather than just a modular thing that you plug in. So it's something that actually permeates through the whole education experience for the students. Observation, so I was lucky to observe and visit Eskdale with Megan and Ruth, and that was a few months ago, and it was great fun. Had a really good time just seeing Ruth in action and seeing environmental education action, people going out into the bush and exploring and picking up logs and all that kind of stuff. So it was really, really lived experience, and it was really made a few things click and shift in my head. It was fun. And then interviews as well. So on the back of the survey instruments, I'm going to then follow up and interview some of the teachers that are interested in speaking further to get more insights into the students' activities, etc. I'm using the SurveyMonkey tool, and if you've got an email from me asking you to complete a survey, if you know a friend who has, urge them to complete it, and they'll get $10 for their school. So those that were involved in these programs. And there's also, maybe that's enough on that. So what is it all about? What are we trying to do? So I'm come across this concept of social learning and some of the other literature that I'm working on, looking actually at serious games in relation to climate change adaptation. And I think it fits quite nicely into this context as well. So what we're looking at in simple terms, and this is after Julia Bard et al. So Julia's a Canadian researcher, I believe, with some colleagues from Stockholm and some other places, and they were looking at the idea of social learning. In simple terms, it's seeing how changes in students, or the subjects, students' thinking and their values lead to engaging others. So it's, in academic speak, it's cognitive learning, it's normative learning, and it's relational learning. And that's what I had in mind when I was developing the survey, and also what I'm going to be thinking through when I'm putting the piece together, and etc. Here's our site. Actually, I'll do this a bit more justice. So what else is really interesting, and it came through yesterday as well with the MC, and just a few conversations I've had in the last few weeks, is the power of humour in all this, and the power of play. And I think Ruud is someone that really encapsulates that. So it's about, and there's science behind that. So it's humour, actually, what it does three things. It disengages, disarms, not disengages. It disarms the audience, so you become relaxed. It engages them in terms of you have their engagement, and then they actually have a higher recall. So there's a lot of science behind teaching with humour and engaging with people generally in the world with humour. So I thought that was kind of cool, and that's something I'd like to capture as well in the research. Here's our site, everybody knows this. And here are the schools that we were talking with, either through interviews or surveys. So there's 16 of them there. And here they are mapped spatially, because I'm a geographer and I couldn't help myself. And got all the lovely yellow stars. So yeah, we've got a pretty good stretch. Obviously, it'd be great if there was 200 yellow stars all over everywhere. But yeah, to start, and it's a good start. It's a fantastic start, and there's so many stories. So that's what I'm going to talk about a little bit now, is just a sample, just a dip into some of those stories. So at the Homana School, and these, just think back into that little curve where you go from thinking to valuing to engaging with others. So then think about those things while we're looking at these examples of action. So yeah, so at school, and these are stories, some that kind of started some of the narratives that I'm going to develop further as the work develops. Kids potting self-sown native seedlings from leaf litter in the school garden for regeneration and sale at school gala. So you've got a few things going on there. You've got learning, you've got relating to others, and you also have changes in terms of actual values. Well, yeah, I guess you can values potentially as well, but I guess that's kind of more difficult to capture, and I'm trying to unpack those kinds of things. At school, students hosted a class from another school to share new environmental learning. So that's fantastic. Father planted paddock behind house to create native bird habitat as a result of engaging in the Cape to City, one of the Cape to City programs, environmental education programs. So that's out in the community. And Tomato School, so students created environmentally themed outdoor games for teachers to use in their classes. Initiative to develop backfield into green space with native planting. Students sent out flyers to neighborhood to inform locals about providing safer habitat for birds. So a lot of this stuff is actually really, really, really cool, because it's student-led. The teachers are enabling the students to do this. They're learning all sorts of skills across those range of core competencies: numeracy, verbal skills, speaking skills, social skills, linking it all together. And it's all through the inspiration is nature and fun, which is pretty cool. And then the last school here, initiative to team up with the local marae in Hawke's Bay to restore their local stream. So it's some conservation work. Initiative to develop backfield into green space with native planting. And students sent out flyers to neighbour. Oh, am I copying the last one? I might be repeating the last one, but it's all good stuff. So that's me. I thought I'd keep it short so I have a little bit of time for questions. I'm giving a paper at a conference in Wellington next year, so if you happen to be in Wellington, we're going to have a bit more of a story to tell at that stage, and this will be worked up further. Thank you very much. Thanks for your time. And any questions? Any questions at all? Oh.
Can someone briefly explain what the program is in the schools? Is it teacher-led, or is it somebody coming in from the outside, or...?
Sorry, I should have given some more context there. I assumed that there'd be assumed knowledge in the audience around all that stuff. So yeah, sorry about that. So the program is, maybe Melissa might be better to talk to it. Sorry for putting you on the spot, but I don't give the program. But there's a few different programs. There's backlight.
I have to be really quick. But there's a few different programs that we go with what the schools want, and it basically works generally over about a term. So it's not just a one-off, one-hit wonder or anything, and it's basically working through both in the classroom and then doing a lot of outdoor stuff, depending on what types of things they're interested in. So we have freshwater program, we have marine program, we have a backyard biodiversity program, and we have a bush program. And most of them follow through a similar sort of format, and at the end, the students are asked to come up with their own, what they're going to take forward with them, and what they're going to do in their own space. And so that's where some of those initiatives that Stephen, and we quite often go back and follow up with the school to provide a teacher training workshop as well, so that then the teachers within the schools are empowered to continue in that, and it's all around empowered learning rather than just rote learning or just sitting listening to somebody talk. It's all about actually getting out there and doing it and problem solving.
Yeah, so it's action-orientated, outcome-orientated stuff, and I'm sorry if I didn't have all the contextual links there, but yeah, there'll be a lot. There'll be a report and hopefully a paper as well, and other stuff coming out of this. So it's not just coming.
Funded. Sorry, how is it funded?
It's funded through the Cape City project. It's funded through the Cape City project at the moment. So it's funded through there's a whole lot of partners in the Cape City project that have all supplied resources, and it's funded through that.
Any idea of cost per student?
No, don't know, sorry.
We can get your email, and I can get in touch with you on that if you like. You just grab my email address, or I can attempt to do so.
Thank you. Any more? One more question for Stephen? No? Okay, thank you, Stephen. It's a little gift for you, and thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it.